Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is 9:36 a.m. and we are now joined by Ahmed Ismael. He is the CEO of Siyafunda Community Technology Centre. Alhamdulillah and many, many congratulations. We understand that Siyafunda has been awarded with the Africa Community Development Award 2022. Well done, Ahmed Ismael, you and your team. And what else can I say? Well deserved indeed. Salaamu alaikum. Welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran. How are you keeping, Sister Julie? And thanks for the intro here.
With your du'as, alhamdulillah, very, very well. It's been quite a journey for you, has it not? I mean, I remember talking to you many, many years ago. And at that time on media, both on TV and radio, I was so fascinated by this initiative of yours, Siyafunda. And I still am, let me add that, because it truly, truly empowers young people, upskills them and creates employment. Take us right back to the beginning, Ismail. Ahmed Ismail, what and how did you come across this? Why did you believe that this was going to work? This is going to make a meaningful difference in communities.
So actually on the 26th of November, 2022, we're 16 years old.
Alhamdulillah, so, yeah. May you grow from strength to strength.
I mean, inshallah. So really the whole idea was, I mean, we're all speaking about bridging the digital divide, making our communities inclusive of the technology and the information society. And the only way we can do it is if we reverse the process. And by that, I mean is instead of the communities in rural and township communities specifically going into the cities and towns to acquire these skills or access to the internet, etc., we said reverse the process and bring access to technologies and skills and the internet at the doorstep of communities. And that's how we really started way back in 2006, November 2006. And the whole idea was, and that's real empowerment in terms of, giving the communities opportunities to unlock the potential and, get the skills of the 21st century so that they can then either get, meaningful employment, or at the same time, we're pushing the agenda of social enterprise, which means, they can become entrepreneurs with a social conscience. Yeah.
How many graduates have passed through your colleges, your classes, and even those that you've put up in rural areas?
Yeah, so I remember the model of Siyafunda is that we don't set up our own community or digital hubs, but the model evolved over the years. And that's, I think, maybe where the success of Siyafunda is, that we're not stagnant or, on steroids, but we look at the needs of communities and then also we evolve as we're going along. So initially we set up the first center in Palm Beach in 2006, but then because a lot of community organizations approached us in terms of what we were doing, being accredited with the CETAs, etc., and the relevant skills that we were, training on, they wanted to partner with us. So then we said, took a step back, that instead of us setting up our own facilities, we rather work with all these community partners in the country, and then we empower them, and then they can run the programs in their communities. So shukar, alhamdulillah, we've got over currently 250 community social partners in township and rural communities around the country. And then they can take those programs that we've got with our partners, with the big IT companies and other, organizations that want to do outreach. Because we've got the scale, we can then run these programs. So just to give you an example, currently we just completed the Africa Code Week, which we the ambassadors for it in South Africa. We did close to, in the last month, we did close to 35,000 school kids and youth, just teaching them about coding. So that's, I think, in terms of, the outreach in terms of communities, yeah.
And when you talk about this number of kids that were put through this Africa Code Week, do you guys physically go to the different communities and schools to roll this out? Because it just doesn't sound, it sounds quite cumbersome for them to come to a center near you or the nearest center to them, so to speak.
Yeah, so remember the Siyafunda community partner is based in the community, right? So that's the model of Siyafunda. It's easy access. You just take a walk down the road and you have access to the community hub where Siyafunda's got its partner. And so we then train the trainers of those communities to run and to run the programs, and that's how it's been a success. Yeah.
I'm going to digress a bit here. I think you guys are doing the most amazing work by upskilling youth and giving them an opportunity to go into the workplace and make a meaningful difference in their lives, in their homes, in their communities. But we also know that unemployment rates are very, very high, possibly the highest in the world, leading to a lot of disillusioned youth who become very destructive. Have you had situations where, because they don't understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, that they end up, and I know that they're not necessarily your centers, but then they become destructive to the infrastructure that is in place to really serve the very community that they live in?
Yeah. So what we've done is we've sort of modeled in terms of the community being part of the center, if you want to call it that, or part of the digital hub. So we like profile the communities. We have open days, and so we make the community, the youth, specifically part of the center, the infrastructure. So that, I mean, we had an incident. I mean, so we, in terms of incidents, we probably had maybe one or two, but in the beginning we had an incident, but in terms of the theft of the devices, etc. But because the community felt it's theirs, they own it.
Ownership,
So
ownership,
immediately, yeah.
yes.
So immediately overnight, I mean, they knew exactly who took it, where it was, and the next 1 2 days it was returned. So I think that's important. Is we need to make communities part of your any initiative that we are doing. We should be, they should be walking the journey with the organizations, and I think in that way you will find the responsibility, accountability, ownership, etc. Because they're feeling part of the journey.
Okay, so future, I'm just thinking 16 years old, Alhamdulillah, you're going very strong. You've made a very, very meaningful difference, in many, many lives, Alhamdulillah. Moving forward, you need to be at the cutting edge. How do you keep relevant? What are the challenges that you face? And are your partners still going to be on board with you?
So, Shukar, yeah, we've got sort of lifelong partners, if you want to call them. So we work with like the big IT companies, SAP, Microsoft. In fact, we were just awarded the Huawei Academy, which was a big
Wow.
plus. Which was a big plus for us in South Africa, because even internationally, because the Huawei Academy is only made available to business training institutions, not for NGOs or community organizations. And Shukar, with the motivation from one of the executives locally, the motivation was done to the headquarters in China, and they seen what we were doing in terms of empowering communities with these relevant and the future skills. They then seen, okay, that we are ideally fit in terms of also delivering the programs. And Shukar, in the last month or two, our trainers have also now gone through the training programs. They've become instructors. So we've got sort of good partners. I mean, new partners have also come on board, like Facebook now, it's called Meta, Google. So newer partners are coming on board. I think where the benefit they've seen is because we can reach out to those previously disadvantaged communities, who need these skills the most, with our network of community partners. That's why they partner with Siyafunda. So with the private sector, and then like also with government. So in fact, we were quite fortunate to participate in the Disability Summit, the President's Disability Summit, which took place last week. And the President was there, and our team showed, in terms of the 4IR technologies, what we're actually doing is demystifying, all the coding, robotics, and all the new skills. And the President was overwhelmed in terms of, what we're achieving in these communities. So sustainability is important at two levels, obviously financially. So Shukar, we, are quite okay with that. And new partners come on board. They incentivize the programs. So for example, we ran some programs with Meta, with Facebook, which was called She Means Business, where women-owned businesses in formal and informal sectors were trained on using the digital marketing skills, and they incentivize, and we motivate to say incentivize the participants in terms of at least the data, etc., so that they can engage in the program. So we got some sort of innovative ways of engaging with our partners, with the private sector, with the universities. Currently, we're doing a project with the University of Pretoria with all their teachers and educators in terms of how to use computers, laptops, and using online platforms. So, Shukar, like that, we get lots of newer partners coming on board, and it's just growing all the time.
Wow. Wow, you've really, really grown. Alhamdulillah. What does this Africa Community Development Award mean for Siyafunda?
So I think, yeah, shukr alhamdulillah, it's the grace of Allah subhanahu. We're not there for accolades and recognitions, but if it comes our way. So the AFICTA is actually an alliance of ICT companies in Africa, organizations, institutions, civil society. So we are also a member in some respect. And we were quite surprised. I mean, somebody probably must have seen out there that what we are doing, and they must have submitted the nomination, etc. And then the summit was held last week, Wednesday and Thursday, and it was announced that we were sort of given the Community Development Award in Africa. So our reach is also into Africa. In fact, one of our trainers from Palm Ridge, from our community, from our house, trained close to over 150 university lecturers, students, graduates, in the whole of Africa in terms of, the Cisco Networking Academy skills. So, we've in the Africa Code Week, which we're part of, we've been running for quite a few years. So the recognition, inshallah, just puts us more on, in terms of, recognition and out there in the world, and maybe more partners come on board. And I think we have a better collaboration, a bigger collaboration with different partners coming on board, and we can then bridge the divide much quicker, the digital divide much quicker than what we all want to do, because as we know that as technology is evolving and with the pandemic, the digital divide just grew wider and wider. So
Mm.
we've got lots of work, and especially the communities at grassroots. That's where our focus is. And just to add, I mean, 2023 come January, February, with the matriculants, so only thousands of kids will get into university. What's going to happen to the rest? And as
Absolutely.
Sister Julie is saying, we need to give those youth and the matriculants, the kids, the hope, so they can come to the centers and see all these different types of programs and see what excites them and take it up as careers.
Okay. We've spoken about amazing successes as far as Siyafunda is concerned, but obviously there must be challenges as well. What did those challenges look like over the years, and how did you guys work at overcoming them?
Okay, so maybe the recent challenge, I think, which we all experienced was with the pandemic, so
Oh,
everybody was in lockdown. So also, I mean, with that, we have to do, because our community partners also do social outreach in terms of compassion, empathy, and, just give them a shoulder to lean on, because that was also important, from that perspective. And yeah, so the challenge was, I mean, as we see now as well, is that going online and doing things virtually, etc., is also was a big challenge. But shukar, with our partners, we then and our trainers and some of the technical expertise that we've got, with our staff members, came up with an easy, simple model in terms of connecting people virtually. So even like communicating, so that was a big challenge because you couldn't talk to one another, and the only means of communicating we couldn't do physically was using technology, the social platforms. So how to use WhatsApp and all those sort of platforms, and still staying close as families and friends and as communities. Yeah. So those are some of the challenges. Then, I mean, obviously, the biggest challenge I think we all experiencing now is with this load shedding and the infrastructure. And
mm.
so we have to just work around that and get but still function and at least give communities opportunities to come to the center and still use the infrastructure, the facilities for their benefit.
Inshallah. Once again, many congratulations, not only from me personally, but all of us here at Salaamedia. A great achievement indeed. And it's so heartwarming to know that you started out 16 years ago. Did you ever think it would come to this? I mean, you start out a new venture and you think, is this going to work? And I'm sure there must have been lots and lots of second guessing, wondering your partners are still going to be on board, your fund is still going to be on board. Do you have to go with cap in hand year after year, knock on doors, etc.? Did you ever imagine that it would come to this? Alhamdulillah.
No, shukr, but that's all the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, using us in different ways and, giving us
True.
the opportunities to serve humanity, in terms of the skills that we've got. So when we started, I mean, we just said, I'll set up 1, 2 centers in Ikuruleni. That's where we're based, with the local metro. And just go continue and sort of be semi-retirement, etc. Yeah, but I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, and we empower our youth, and we have a lot of volunteers that come on board and give them the necessary skills, and they become the engines of Siyafunda, and they're really carrying the flag of Siyafunda. So we're just sort of in the background, yeah.
Finally, I know you spoke about targeting the school leavers, the matriculants next year, those that are not going to be absorbed into jobs and into tertiary. What about older people? Let's talk about mid-20s and above, who still haven't found their feet and desperately looking to find something. Would they be suitable candidates for coming onto these type of programs? Are they too old?
No, so one of Siyafunda's criteria is that we don't have a requirement for you to have a matric certificate or age as well. So, because the moment we do that, we're already creating barriers and obstacles for people to, just get the relevant skills. Because I think that's where the problem is, that having a matric certificate, because we have a lot of youth, I mean, coming to the centers who didn't even complete matric, or even
Right,
grade 10 or
right.
11. So, and we give them the opportunities, and they excel. I mean, they become technicians, engineers, and some of them became social entrepreneurs. So also, started their own businesses. So also what we position, we run entrepreneurship programs in the communities with our partners. So give them the opportunity, you train them a bit on how to do a business, etc., and then go out and do the business. And it's a year-long program. And we've seen successful, it was specifically focused on women youth, and exciting, impactful, and case studies was done with regard to the successes. So there's no age. I mean, we've had goers of 80, 90 who used to travel
Oh,
with
wow.
taxis, yeah, in the rural areas, and
Wow. Okay.
they want to learn, because the important thing is, you see, and also specifically focusing on women mothers, because if they can embrace technology for benefit, then they can obviously push the agenda in the community.
Absolutely. Ahmed Ismail, better known as Smiley, and you can see why, Alhamdulillah. You've done absolutely well. Marvelous role model in our community, and may you continue touching lives in a positive way and grow our communities, grow our youth, and make all of those opportunities available to very especially the disenfranchised youth in our communities. Thank you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all
Um,
of your efforts,
I mean,
and may
inshallah.
you continue growing from strength to strength. Keep well. Keep us in your dua. Assalamu
Shukran for
alaikum.
Salaamedia for always showcasing and putting us out there. I think together you're also part of the journey as Salaamedia, and yourself specifically, Sister Julie, because you've walked the journey with us, and showcasing us on different platforms. Together we can make the difference, inshallah. Shukran. Assalamu
Ameen,
alaikum.
Ameen. Walaikum salam, thumma Ameen. It is exactly 9:54. News and views right here on Salaamedia. We do have our final guest standing by to talk to us, Maulana Mujahid White. We'll talk with him in a minute or two. Let's just go for a very short ad break, inshallah.